DetroitCableTV.com, or you can get us on Facebook, or you can get us on DetroitCableTelevision.com. This is a live call-in show, so if you'd like to call in, the numbers are 313-868-0342, 868-0351, and 868-4336. You can call in and ask questions of the candidates, or you can call in and give us your comment. Okay, we're going to start with Cheryl. Cheryl, I would like for you to tell Detroit where you come from, what it is you have done so far, and what you plan on doing as mayor.
Hello, Detroit. My name is Cheryl Franklin, and I was a City of Detroit employee for 15 years driving DOT bus. Integrity with honesty and respect. And I'm just doing my everyday job, and you know, that spoken word, just talk to you, tell you to run for mayor. I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, I need some backup on this. Judges chapter 6, verse 16. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm going to obey you. So here I am, running for the City of Detroit mayor, Cheryl Franklin, write-in candidate. If you got some questions, come on and call, but please don't call with anger and confusion. Please call with concern. You want to find out about me? Just call. Thank you.
Okay, and now we have Scotty Boman running for city clerk. It's time for a change. And now, can you tell us what you have done so far and what you plan on doing for Detroit as city clerk?
Well, as you mentioned, I'm Scotty Boman, and I'm born and raised in Detroit. I currently am working at Wayne County Community College District, so I have a good understanding of mathematics and how to work with numbers. And hopefully I will be your next city clerk with your help. I have been involved in a number of activities. I'm on the executive board of my neighborhood association in Morningside community, where I've been a resident for over 10 years. Okay. I am on the election committee of my union local. I'm the vice president of my neighborhood patrol, where we patrol for safety. So I have been involved in other activities. I don't wait for elections to get involved. I'm currently working on providing smarter service, being more fair, and offering total transparency. By smarter service, what I mean is that any information that can be placed online so that people can access it more readily should be placed online, and those who wish to get their information by other means, such as walking in or calling on the phone, won't have to wait as long. Also, smarter service means we could do things to make it easier on voters who often, for instance, I've talked to people when I was out petitioning who couldn't even vote because they showed up at a place and were told they're at the wrong location and they had to go somewhere else. I think as long as a person keeps the same address, they should be able to keep the same voting location. It just seems like common sense. Yes. Another thing by smarter service is that we have alternatives available. If for some reason a person still does show up at the wrong location, they should still be able to submit a ballot, and it can be set aside. They can make sure that the person has not voted at their other location, and then it should be counted along with the rest. So we just need to do things so people's right to vote is not impaired. Fairness, I believe in being more fair, and fairness includes that all candidates be treated equally. If we apply certain rules to one candidate, that's the same rule for all of the candidates.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I also believe the city clerk should not have any special privileges. I will not use campaign materials to promote, there it goes, voter educational materials to promote a campaign. That's not for the taxpayers to pay for. And I don't even think a person who makes $73,000 plus a year like city clerk should use a taxpayer-funded car.
Okay, okay. This is what I love about meeting all of the candidates instead of just the selected ones. It's a lot that we can learn from candidates that's running for office. I was telling Cheryl earlier about Shirley Chisholm. was the first African-American woman voted to Congress, and she was the first African-American woman that ran for president and did quite well, so to speak. And so for her not to diminish herself because she's a woman, but I think we women are just as powerful and as equal to men, and we should be able to run for mayor just like they should in any other office. And I think each candidate should be heard for us to learn about what's going on in Detroit. And right now, Detroit is not an educated electorate when you have a 15% turnout. 15% is not a good grade anywhere in the United States. And so we should have a city clerk that pushes for 90% turnout, and then we would have elected officials and not selected officials. And back to Cheryl. As mayor, what would you do about all of the city jobs that were cut under the previous administration?
Well, first of all, we would have to do a lot of restructuring, because a lot of city jobs, the people are not doing their job. You work in the city of Detroit, but you don't live here, so you don't have no care about how the city is functioning or anything. You know, and I have some jobs that's boiling inside of me to put people to work. And I mean a lot of people to work. I can't tell you what they are because, you know, I don't want my other people getting the ideal, you know, moving ahead. Some things you do have to keep to yourself. But Detroit, we need you. We need you to come together, stop all the bickering and arguing. Okay, now, I haven't lost anything since I've been walking with the Lord. He is truly real. He's real in my life.
Yeah,
I didn't stop driving DOT for 15 years to be nothing. You know, as I said before, Judges chapter 6, verse 16. If you want to start at 14 down, you can. Because this is frightening. It's afraid. But we need integrity to be working with the city of Detroit. All the churches we have in the city of Detroit, and we're not pulling together, you know, because, what is that, crabs in a barrel or something?
Crabs in a barrel effect.
You know, people are first concerned. Downtown, sure, okay, we have to get along, but I'm in a city with you, I'm downtown, and I look beautiful. And you don't even want to say hi to me. There's a problem. Okay, now I was on Facebook earlier today and got very upset, and I need to calm down.
Yes.
Okay, because there was a lot of things on there. I'm like,
Yes.
it's really ridiculous. I don't want to put it on the air because we are aware of what's in the air that's floating in the city of Detroit. It's time for togetherness because we all are one. Every one of us loves the city of Detroit.
Yes, we do.
You know, we love Detroit, everyone, all colors, all nationalities. But we have to work together. You know, I'm not involved with the money of paying me to shut up, and I'm not afraid of my life, you know, because God is in control. Let me say that again. God is in control.
Absolutely.
I'm
Okay.
just obeying him.
Cheryl, Scotty, we're going to go to the phone lines and see what the audience has to say. Go ahead, caller. You're on with Meet the Candidates. What is your question or comment?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'd like to ask Mr. Boman, does he think that the city clerk should handle their own election, or should it be pushed off to maybe the Wayne County clerk or some other neutral clerk or election facility? That's one. And two, what would he do to increase the voter turnout? You're talking about 15%? Give me some specifics, not generalities, please, of how you would increase the voter turnout. And you'll have a blessed day.
All right, thank you.
Okay, the first part of the question concerned whether or not the city of Detroit should handle its own elections or Wayne County should handle them for us. I believe the city of Detroit can handle its own elections. Now, there is one office for which, though, the one I'm running for, where there is a reasonable argument to think maybe that should be different. Perhaps the county clerk should run in the city elections and this requires some changes in law for this to even happen, but I suppose it would make more sense if the city clerk ran in the even year elections when the county clerk is in charge of them, and that the city clerk would run, the city clerk would run in the county elections run by the county clerk, and the county clerk would run in the city elections run by the city clerk, except for they would also, no, that wouldn't work, because you'd still have Detroit inside of Wayne County. So I could see putting the city clerk in the countywide elections. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it the other way. In either case, that would require a charter change to make that happen. So under the current charter, it's the way it is, and the city clerk is running in the elections in which he or she is in charge, which does present a conflict of interest, I understand. As far as the other part goes about, I'm trying to remember the question. Voter education and turnout. Right now, billboards are being used as one of the ways, and direct mail as ways in which to get people out to the polls. And these are very expensive ways to get people voting. And I'm not even sure how many people vote because they saw a billboard as opposed to not seeing a billboard. I'm not sure that really makes a difference. So what I would think would be a more cost-effective alternative, especially given that people are losing, or at least are in fear of losing parts of their pension. There's people losing work. We have city assets are being challenged by this bankruptcy and by the financial manager. I think it's important to find more cost-effective ways to get people to the polls. And one idea I have is online advertising is a lot cheaper than billboards.
Yes, it is.
Now, granted, a lot of people don't use the internet, but I think a lot of the more mature voters who would probably be less likely to use the internet are already getting their information by direct mail and are often applying for absentee ballots and so forth. So those people are already being contacted by direct mail. But as far as getting, instead of the billboards, which, like I said, I'm not sure how effective that really is, we could have improved voter education both by having people being alerted to the elections online, but also I believe we should work with the schools so that our next generation of voters get involved right away.
Yes,
and what
I
we can
believe
do
that truly.
is I teach online classes where I work at Wayne County Community College, and we could have an online curriculum developed at very low cost that then we could go to, for instance, the superintendents of the school systems, the people in charge of the charter schools, and also have a link available on the city clerk's website for homeschoolers. And then those people could in turn share it with the individual schools and with the government teachers, and they can make it part of the curriculum for students to learn about voting. They can make registering an assignment and so forth, that we could get people involved early on and using these electronic resources, which are very cheap, do not require a lot of paper printing, and definitely are a lot cheaper than billboards.
Okay, caller, you can go ahead with a question or a comment.
Hello?
Yes, go right ahead.
Yes, I want to ask Miss Franklin, is it?
Yes.
Don't you think it is improper, and I know in a lot of arenas it's illegal to infuse your religious views with your political aspirations, or better known as separation of church and state?
Was that it?
Go ahead.
That's the reason why we're in the predicament that we are in, because we separate. There are other religions and other cultures out here that does not separate, but we have to separate. Okay, so say like I get in office, and I sleep with everything and just disrespect everybody. How long do you think I'm going to be in office? If you don't have anything to guide your life, to keep yourself in a little bit of order, then it's barbaric. Don't you think?
Okay. On to the next caller. Do you have a question or comment?
I have a question.
Go right ahead.
The gentleman that just got off the phone, he had the same question I had to ask. And it is amazing how black people have all the religion of getting into anything at any time, but you never hear a white person talking about their religion and their office and what they're running for. This is what I don't understand, and I believe in God. I'm a Catholic, and I believe in God. I don't care who it is and what they do. But, you know, the religion and state does not belong together, because if that was the case, we wouldn't be in the position we're in right now, because we believe in all religion, and we don't get anything. Everybody else, they don't bring theirs on television. They don't bring theirs in the street like we do ours. So you can't answer my question, but I just want to let you know that. And the gentleman that's sitting there, you like charter schools better than you like public schools in the city of Detroit, which have been here all the time. And a lot of our politicians, all of them went to public schools. And charter schools is not for people in the city of Detroit. This is the biggest state, biggest city there is in the United States. And all of our schools are gone. So what would you do to bring the public schools back to in existence in the city of Detroit? That's what I want to know. Because we don't have public schools anymore. We don't have anything but religion. And we're going to die with religion, and everybody else is going to take everything away from us. So could you explain that to me? And thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
Okay, well, first of all, the city clerk's office does not handle the schools. In fact, the city of Detroit, the city government, is separate from the Board of Education. And so there is not a direct decision-making role on that. Now, one thing that is important, though, as far as just explaining the structure of this, is that much of the demise of the local school system was started when they switched over funding from local to state funding under the promise of cutting property taxes, which ultimately started creeping up again. Voters went and approved a proposal to relinquish much of the local control of their public school systems and hand it over to the state. And so that's when we started getting all this stuff about count days and schools getting money based upon how many kids show up on a specific day, and all this other thing where now it's become this issue where people are going to the state requesting money, and then you have these different systems, whether it be the public school, or actually charter schools, by the way, are a part of the public school. They're a separate public school system because they're still getting public funds. That's where that happened. And so part of the breakup of our local school system resulted from a relinquishing of local control. Now, what I was talking about is there is something the city clerk can do as far as facilitating voter education, but that needs to be done fairly through all the learning institutions. And that, like I even mentioned, homeschoolers. The important thing is that we get the young people educated and out to vote. As city clerk, I'm dedicated to fairness, and I don't want to single out or favor one particular group of educational institutions.
Now, can I say something in response to that? Is that we have these buildings around the city of Detroit. It's time to rebuild and reopen these buildings, put some people to work to put our children back in the schools, okay? Because right now, I don't know what they're doing because I don't have any children in the school. But I have been aware of what's going on around it. We have strippers stripping the city. People are hungry. They need money. And let's put them to work.
Okay. All right, caller, you can go ahead with your question and comment.
Hey, Jackie.
Hey, 6.
You know, I can't agree with Ms. Percy even more. Our biggest problem is in that devilish arena, we have been moving morally. Like I always said, we have been moving morally and not politically. And until we get that political machine that's going to do what God's people really need them to do to get this thing done, you know, once we play, we got to get up and start throwing some elbows. Now, but my question is this to my man want to run for city clerk.
Okay.
What are you going to do about Governor Snyder disenfranchising the voters of Detroit? We voted no on the emergency manager. What are you going to do? I haven't heard no clerk say no one running for clerk. You didn't mention, well, you know, in November 2012, we did not vote. We voted for no emergency manager. That, to me, is an issue of the city clerk, because we are saying to our clerk, there's no way Kevin Orr should be here.
Okay, well, I regret that I can't get, if I were elected and if anyone else was elected to the office of city clerk, that the person so elected would not be able to remove the city manager or to remove us from the bankruptcy proceedings. That's just something that office doesn't have direct control over. I certainly oppose the intervention by the state in our local matters, but we have that happening right now, and it's not something that the city clerk has direct control over.
Okay, caller, you're on the air. Do you have a question or a comment?
Yes, I have a question.
Go right ahead.
A comment also. The lady, I don't know her name, she has the sweatshirt on.
Cheryl Franklin.
Okay, Miss Franklin. Detroit has so many churches, and it doesn't do any good. If there is a God, he's not concerned with us.
That's not true.
So, yes, it is true now.
No.
And I'm glad that the gentleman said that that he cannot, that's not in the office of the city clerk to do anything about the voting down of that initiative. Mm-hmm. You have to get the governor out so that at least, I mean, that could be vetoed. Am I not correct?
Well,
That would be a job of getting the governor out. It's Snyder we have to be concerned with.
Well, first of all, if I may say that the city of Detroit is being totally disrespected. They're not abiding by the rules. And as I drove the DOT buses, I watched they disrespect our police officers. There's too much disrespect going on. Okay, and we just need someone to just, of course the governor has to leave, but who won't say that the next one won't come in acting like him? You know, but there's a lot of ways that people have done things. Back in the old days, meaning the 60s, I'm 53, they marched down the street and they got things done that way.
Yes,
okay, and then, you know, now everything that they did back then is just being totally ignored. You know, now I do know that I'm not involved with a religion, but by me being 53, never been harmed, you know, I have to trust in something because I have been lied to, went to school, went to college, went to, you know, did this and done that and worked this job and everything. And, you know, it's not, I'm not getting any results from it. So a lot of people have BAs and masters and degrees and everything, but, you know, there's no jobs. Okay, now, there is a God because of the sky, the air, the grass, the trees. Now,
that's correct.
The Bible is the #1 seller every year. Just read it, and it's going to answer all your questions. But there is a God, you know.
Okay.
There is a God.
All right. All right, caller, you can ask your question, or do you have a comment?
Well, I have a comment, and my comment is that we have to recognize that God is a part of us, and we don't have to invoke God's name in any regard if we are truly followers. We do it, we show it by our works.
Thank you.
And I am a Scotty Boman supporter. It's good to see you there, Scotty. And I just want the people to know that this guy demonstrates in his works the goodwill that God would have us to see in the world. So go for Scotty Boman. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the one thing, I'm going to come to you, caller, next. The one thing that we want to make sure that you do on August 6th is go out and vote.
Yes.
That's the power that we have is in the vote. We don't have a lot of power with the 15% turnout. But we would have a lot of power with a 90% turnout. Okay, the show is over. Okay, again, Superphonics for Superstar Readers. You can call me at 313-948-2521. It's a wonderful program, and it teaches your children how to read. Okay, I'll see you again next week with Meet the Candidates. And you all have a wonderful weekend. I'm going out to do a little celebrating, and I'm going to support some of the other candidates that's having fundraisers. So get out there and meet the candidates.
Thank
See
you.
you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Detroit.